Hello and welcome to Blueprints for Life. I'm Peter C. Hayward.
I'm Nicole Cutler.
And this is a brand new podcast. What is this show, Nicole? What are we doing?
I don't know. I just showed up.
So this is a show for, I was going to say creatives, but it's not just for creatives. You don't think of yourself as a creative. I
am definitely not a creative. I actually describe myself as the least creative person that ever lived. So if that answers your question, no.
So who is this show for? Let's start there and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about.
I would think this show
you would listen to this, right?
I would absolutely listen to this. I think this show would be for anyone who wants to be more efficient and happy in their life. Who wants to understand their brain, right?
Who wants to understand their brain? Well put. Thank you. That's the tagline I was looking for and didn't have. So this is a show.
I am creative.
This is a show about models, not supermodels, not solar system models. This is a show about models for thinking, models for existing, and as you said, models for how your brain works. And this is something that you and I are genuinely obsessed with. We have long conversations about different models, different ways of thinking, different ways of processing information, different ways of processing conflict, different ways of processing work, all the ways of processing, the way that my brain works and the way that your brain works, and this is why we are such a happily married couple, is that this is why we're such an unhappily married couple.
That's it. That's it.
Is I need a model that I can slot things into. For life to make sense, I need a way to think about it that I don't want to say categorize and sorts, but just it fits a pattern that I can identify. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, that definitely feels true. I also benefit from understanding how other people think because there are some people that I have conflicts with that are very well-intentioned and some people who aren't, and that is really helpful to understand before having any kind of disagreement.
Yeah. I often think about the fact that as a kid, and I'm using the term kid here very loosely, I used to think that everyone just thought exactly like me. I
feel like you still think that sometimes.
Yeah. The default. I genuinely think the default thought is that everyone thinks like us, and the reality is that no one thinks like us. Everyone has their own unique ways of thinking, but you can broadly categorize it into models. And so I really, this is awful. I was in my 20s when I realized some of these things. I was in my 20s when I was like, oh, these people they're not just saying what's on their mind at all times. That was a mind-blowing concept to me. That people just didn't stream of consciousness their every thought.
Yeah, I mean, we have these kind of conversations all the time. And I've noticed these things in my interactions with my 5-year-old because he fully did not understand that the 12-year-old girls weren't interested in his Pokemon cards. What do you mean? This is the coolest thing that ever lived. What are you doing?
I like this, therefore everyone likes this. That's just a fact.
100%.
I'm going to tell my Taylor Swift story. Have I told you this?
I feel like you would have.
I only recently remembered this. I was in my late 20s when I was talking to a friend, and I was like, "Who do you think is the most attractive woman on the planet?" Because this is what boys talk about all the time. And he said Taylor Swift, and it had never occurred to me that anyone thought that Taylor Swift was very, very attractive. This is how locked into everyone thinks like me. She's just not my type. She's obviously wonderful in so many ways. She's not my type at all, and the idea that she was anyone's type had never occurred to me.
How old would you have been?
Maybe mid. It was before I moved to Canada, so I would have been mid-20s. But I was just really? But that's not what I like. Therefore, I like Pokemon cards. Therefore, you like Pokemon cards. This is how it works.
Obviously.
Before we jump into the episode topic, let's talk a little bit about us. So I'm just going to do a brief intro. I'm Peter. Hi, how are you?
Hi. Oh, not to me. Okay.
No. You might know that already. And I am a full-time creative professional, which is a strange and wonderful thing. And I've been full-time creative for about over a decade now. I'd say about 10, 15 years, somewhere in that range. And so a lot of these models, a lot of these systems, a lot of these things are stuff I've had to build up because I work from home. Where I am right now, this is my office. This is where I work. So I don't have a boss telling me I have deadlines. I don't have a schedule. And when you start working from home, it's a wild frenzy of nothing, and you really have to build systems yourself to get this kind of thing happening. I make board games. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see behind me my collection of published board games. I'm at, I think, 38 or something like that. I did a count recently. Wow. I also am a writer. I write fiction for the internet, and I have a Patreon from which I've made, for a decade, that was... over a decade, that was the majority of Mancome. Just recently, board games has kind of surpassed it, which is very lovely. And I'm moving. I live in LA, Los Angeles, California, to try to write screenplays. That's always been a long-term goal, and we'll probably get into this at some point. Basically, board games and my writing have been this like elaborate Rube Goldberg machine to get me into America to write screenplays, and now I'm sort of like stuck in them and trying to break away from 2 other creative careers to start a 3rd creative career.
Problems.
I know, it's a strange life. Anything key I've missed there, you think?
No. That's pretty comprehensive.
Who are you? How did you get on my screen? Why are you so pretty? What's happening?
I don't know. It's a fluke. So I am Nicole Cutler. I am a 35-year-old mom of 2 little boys. And I actually thought really hard about what I was going to say here, because I'm like, I don't know what to say. I think that it's very relevant and something that I don't share with many people voluntarily.
Just the entire internet.
But now, I dropped out of high school when I was 16. And now I'm the director of operations for Cardboard Alchemy and make 6 figures. And I have 6 rental properties. And it all comes down to like knowing how my brain works.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm really excited to talk about this. And I'm married to a wonderful man who I'm going to say is a wonderful man because he's listening to this. So Peter, he's listening to this.
He's great. Yeah. He's also one of my best friends. We co-designed together. So Critter Kitchen is my most successful game, co-designed by Nicole's husband and published by Nicole's company before she worked there. So not because she works there, like before she worked her.
Are you saying that I'm a Nepo baby?
Yeah. No, I want to make sure that people understand that I'm not just writing any coattails for this specifically. In general, yes, but not for this specifically.
No, but I mean, one of the most interesting things is that like success begets more success, and when you're like networking with people, like it's so hard to find people who work well together and who are thoughtful about how we interact with each other, and that kind of like makes us all gravitate together. So I think it's very common for us, especially in creative fields, despite the fact that I'm not a creative, to have overlapping intersections like that.
I'm going to tell an anecdote just to deflate your claims of not being creative. Was it last night you messaged me and you were like, "Hey Peter, I've come up with a board game. I think I'm going to make it."
That's not what I said. I said I had a dream about a board game. So apparently there's some subconscious in me.
You're not consciously creative, only when you're asleep.
Yeah, basically I design games in my sleep.
Yeah, you see me and your husband doing it, and you're like, "This is easy. Anyone can do this."
You know what? It's easy as long as I don't prototype it. Then I can continue saying how easy it is, right?
That's true. As long as it's a theoretical game, then it can be the best game that's ever existed. Mm-hmm. I cut off your intro. Any other key things that you want to mention?
I kind of want to mention. Okay, disclaimer. Can you cover your ears? Because I kind of want to mention that like one of the pivotal moments of my life and understanding my brain was meeting you, and how that like cascaded my life in a completely different trajectory. But I don't want to give you an ego over it.
No,
so
that's fine.
just
I'll just say it was just say it was Samuel. We'll make up a Samuel, and then you can say nice things about Samuel, and I'll be like, "Oh, this guy sounds so good and attractive, and he has such a nice blue beard. I wish I could be like him." I didn't
say that. No, now you're getting carried away.
He's so hot. There's a weird vibe in this. This actually segues into what I want to talk about, which is you and me. So, despite my outrageously flirtatious remarks, we are Liz Lemon and what's Alec Baldwin's character? Jack.
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, we are Liz Lemon, the character, and Alec Baldwin, the actor. We are the most platonic BFFs of all time. I mentioned that just because I've been so outrageously flirty 4 times already.
I don't even register it anymore. It's just like
I genuinely treat you like a sister in that I flirt with you. No, in that like I have a sibling chat. You know how everyone has the family chat. You are in my family chat because you are my family, we are very
We
close.
grew up
but
together.
We grew up
what
together,
are you talking
yeah.
about?
Of course. So I want to talk a little bit about how we met, how we became friends, and then I want to dive into today's topic. This is a lot of introductions, but also this is the introductory episode. That's what you get.
Well,
So-
I'm glad to learn this because this is my first podcast. So
It's true. This is. Have you been on a podcast before? You must.
I've
have.
been on a podcast, but I've never done a podcast.
It's fun. It's a good time, and it also ties into our topic, which I promise I will get to. So, just briefly, how did you and I meet? Actually, it's a good story. Tell the story.
It's not a flattering story.
No, that's why I love it. That's what makes it good. It's flattering to me. I turned it into a beautiful moment.
I think I blocked most of this out, but basically, we were at a board game convention, BGG Con 2016. We could probably figure out the date if we had to.
Oh, I have a picture. There's a picture on my wall of us first meeting, so I could find that date in my camera roll.
I'm glad that someone took that moment. They're like, this is going to be a pivotal moment.
Yeah.
And I was working it and I was filming, which is I was filming content as one does apparently, and people were.
Let's briefly talk about that. You used to do a Twitch channel about playing board games. And,
Yes,
that's very common these days. I think you guys were the first. Like, you guys were the first people to Twitch stream board games, right?
Yes, I think we were the first to, not the first to live stream, but like the first to do like any kind of like chat interaction, and that was inspired by Twitch Plays Pokemon. I think.
Oh, I remember Twitch Plays Pokemon. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Blast in the past. So you were there in filming capacity at a board game convention.
Yeah,
which is funny because you weren't like a board game person, I think, is fair to say.
Very much not. I wasn't at that point in time. That's definitely, it's kind of changed. But yeah, we were filming, and it was a very small con, so we were getting a lot of attention from other people who were setting up, who wanted to talk about their games, and they're asking like, what are you doing? How can I film something with you? We were very popular, obviously. And this blue-haired Australian walks up to me after hours of being approached by people, and I think I meant to say, "Can I help you?" or "Did you need something?"
You missed.
And instead I said, "What did you want?
What do you want?
What do you want? Yeah, what do you want? What do you want?"
I was just defensive. Like, I was told to come here and meet you. Someone who we both knew was introducing us, and I was like,
I don't care about you at all.
And from that auspicious beginning, a powerful friendship was formed. I tell that story because today's topic is. So a lot of these episodes are going to be just like how I think about things, how stuff works in my brain. How do. Sometimes I want to use like discrete models that I use. I like I said, I think in models. I come up with these models. I've been sharing with people, including you. You've come up with models, shared them with me, and I think we've both consistently found that these models are really, really helpful, not just for you and me. Like we speak in our own language of like models and submodels and like right now I could say, oh, is it a feather or a brick? You would know exactly what I meant. Everyone has their own coded language. Ours are very,
person.
Yeah, ours are very, very model driven. And so this is less that. This is just more of a how I approach things and how it works for me. So I have lived in many, many, many cities. I am Australian, as you can hopefully tell. I don't know if I've lost my accent completely at this stage. And I grew up in a place called Sydney. You may have heard of it. Moved up to a place called Toowoomba, which you probably haven't. And then Brisbane, and then Canberra, and then Melbourne by the time I was in my 20s. That's where I had the conversation about Taylor Swift, that pivotal conversation. And then I moved to Toronto, and then from Toronto, I moved down to LA. So I've lived in a lot of different places. This has been really good for me in that, like, I call myself peripatetic, which just means, like, to be a traveler. I'm very peripatetic, and it's been really good for me because every time I go to a new city, I basically get to reinvent myself. Like, I have very few ties between the cities. It's not like me and my girlfriend move from city to city, or me and my 4 closest friends, like in The Big Sick, which is a cultural reference we will all immediately understand because I just watched that the other night. It was always me, lone peripatetic traveler going from city to city. And
So it's like a fully complete chapter.
it's like a fully complete chapter, and I would often, this wasn't deliberate, but I sort of for a long time was able to like look at my life in these geographical chapters, which I feel like not many people are able to do. Like for example, you've lived in Florida for a long time, and now you live in North Carolina. And you've had a few places in between, and maybe you've moved, but like mine was very much like, the 5 years I spent in Melbourne, the 9 months I spent in Canberra, the 4 years I spent in Brisbane, etc., etc. And the thing about moving city is that you don't have friends. So I got very good at making friends. I got it. I built a model. I built a model of making friends and got it down to this fine art. And this was actually the first time that someone was like, Peter, your models are really helpful. I was at a party. I used to host a lot of parties back in Melbourne, and I was telling my friend Ross about this. I found out later he went and made a pamphlet. Like, he made a zine of my like steps for making friends, and he like gave out this zine of how to make friends based on my ramblings. I don't have that zine. I really wish I did. But I wanted to talk about we're in a loneliness epidemic. People are very lonely. How do you make friends? So you and I met, and I liked you so much straight away. I thought you were fun and very polite in your greetings and not at all awful.
Nailed it.
I thought you were very tall. That was the main thing I left. I was just like, she's so weirdly tall. What are you, 7 foot, 8 foot?
No, that feels, yeah. 8'5" specifically.
That's what it was. Yeah. And so I wanted to be friends with you. Now, do you remember, Nicole? Actually, I was married at the time, and I texted my husband, and I was like, I met 2 really cool people. I want to be friends with them. Do you remember what my steps were to become your friend?
You ignored the hell out of us. I don't know if that was like an official.
It was deliberate. Yeah. I forgot about that. That wasn't going to be my guide, but like, you're 100% right. What did that
we
look
had to
like
like, we're wondering if you liked us. Like, we're like,
this was like, very deliberate.
We want to. Like, does this guy want to hang out? Like, do you want to play a game? I don't know. He's But
okay,
you were like one of the first people we met in the board game industry, and you just had like zero interest in getting. It was weird.
For the record, I liked you so much. I wanted to hang with you so bad. But we're gonna. Are you ready, Nicole? We're gonna introduce a model into our podcast about talking about models. Do you know which one I'm going to say?
I don't. I'm excited for this.
You know it. I was curious if you knew where I was going. Let's talk about scarcity mode and abundance mode.
Okay.
So, do you want to cover it, or shall I? We like, this is one that we've talked about for almost 10 years now.
You should, because you're really good at this part. I'm good at following them. You're good at describing them.
So, do you remember the pandemic? Do you remember pandemic? Okay, so a while back there was a pandemic. It's called the loneliness pandemic. It's very sad. And there was a time right at the start where everyone was like, we're not going to be able to buy toilet paper. We will not have toilet paper. So everyone rushed to the store and they bought all the toilet paper, which mean other people, when they came in, didn't have any toilet paper. So then they needed toilet paper, and it became this like mass like frenzy of grabbing all the toilet paper, and no one could have toilet paper, and everyone was very highly strung about toilet paper. This is called scarcity mode, and it is. I'm not a sociologist. I'm not a biologist, but I think of it as like a part of our brain, which is from the caveman days of like, I want my family to eat. They need food. I need to get food, and I will do whatever it takes to get food. And you become this like tunnel vision, obsessive, focused, I will get food person. That is scarcity mode. Abundance mode is the opposite. Abundance mode is how you, right now, Nicole, in this moment, relate to toilet paper, which is very casually. You don't really think
You don't know my life.
You are toilet training a tiny baby, so you might have a different relationship with toilet paper. Not a baby. How old's your youngest son?
He's almost 3.
Yeah, I suspect there's toilet paper in your life.
In any case, yes, it is not a concern.
Right, you don't think about it. You know that you can go to not only the store, but any store and get toilet paper. You can actually press a button on your computer and the toilet paper will arrive at your house. You could set up an auto toilet paper in you and never have to think about toilet paper ever again. This is abundance mode. And this is a really, really important thing to be aware of as a human, because we are not nice when we're in a scarcity mode. When we are like laser focused on our goal. Oh, okay. You and I had a conversation about this podcast recently. And about like the business model of it, and I got very fixated. This doesn't
describe you at all.
Yeah, no, never, never. And so we paused the conversation, walked away because in that mode, I'm not at my best. Especially as a creative. If you take nothing else away from this podcast, as a creative, you need to get into abundance mode because that's when things flow and that's when you are generous with thoughts and ideas. Scarcity mode is mine. Don't touch it. No, I will not take feedback. This is the only thing I have. You can't go near it.
That is interesting. Does that impact like when like a starving artist, like does that impact your creativity if you're in scarcity mode or if your paychecks are coming
absolutely.
not as regularly?
Yes. So I very deliberately have diverse income streams. I do not want to rely on one thing for my income. And for a long time I did, and I had to really consciously take that thing and pretend that it was abundant. It was a completely conscious, like, look, at any point this could go away. And if I start thinking about that, I will get into the scarcity mindset. And then I just am not going to create well. I'm not going to be a good creative. I am going to be like, I got to do it right. And as soon as you're in, I got to do it right. I think of it as this like physical, like locking down of the body, this like creeping feeling. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like that feeling of like defensiveness.
Peter, it's called anxiety.
It really is, like genuinely. Yeah.
This is what us humans experience. Peter doesn't get anxious. I mean, I think it's only in the last few years that you discovered what anxiety is, but that's anxiety.
I had to build an elaborate model to describe this feeling, and then one day I was like, oh, that's anxiety. Do you remember my metaphor of like the forest with the fruit? That was the long paths through the forest. We'll probably tell that sometime. But that was me building a model to understand the basic emotion, anxiety. Inside Out 2 wasn't out yet. I didn't have any other thing to do. So I had to come up with a whole model for it. So I met you and I was like, I want to... So you and also your best friend. And I met the two of you and I was like, these are Bonza ladies. I'm all about them. I think they're great.
Bonza?
You grew up in Australia, Nicole. You should know this.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, obviously.
Totally radical. These are groovy chicks, and I wanted to spend time with you because I was also very new, not only to board games but to the continent, and I thought you two were great. I still think you two are great. I don't know why, but this is where I am. And so I very consciously, very deliberately did not let myself get into scarcity mode. So that thing you're describing of me ignoring you was me being like, I am going to deliberately not spend time. Because what I wanted to do, what my gut immediate impulse was to attach to you two like a leech and not have any time at the convention away from you and just hang out for 4 days.
So and you just waited a few years to do that. Now you've attached like...
No, you can't get rid of me. Genuinely, that's not far off. But in those first days, I know how important these first impressions are. Mm-hmm. And so what I didn't do was, I saw you around. It was not a big convention. And I didn't run over giddily and be like, hey guys, let's hang out. What are you doing? What are you doing now? I want to do it too. What are you doing? You're playing a game? I want to play a game. You're going for dinner? I want to go for dinner. Didn't do that because that's terrifying for a stranger. Now, I'm a pretty cool cat, but I think had I been like, hey guys, what are you doing? I'm doing that too. Yo, you like purple? I like purple. What? What's your favorite number? I love that number too. Then you would have been like, oh, this guy's kind of a loser, and you would have liked me less. I wasn't like, what's the pickup term? I wasn't like negging you or ghosting you or anything like that. But I was.
You were being rude.
I wasn't being rude. I wasn't trying to make you want me with my scarcity. But what I was doing was, for my sake, making sure, A, not to overwhelm you, because I've done that before and I've burned people out on Peter. I know, crazy idea. And B, make sure that I wasn't like, every moment I'm not spending them as a waste. So I jumped on my laptop. I remember really distinctly, in the lobby, I was on my laptop talking to my husband and I saw you guys across and I was like, oh, look, there's people. And I didn't close my laptop and coming out with you because I wanted to reassure myself there will be toilet paper another day.
Are you comparing me to toilet paper now?
This is how I've always seen you, Nicole.
Okay. And now it's interesting because I'm trying to think back and then rewrite that interaction. And had you been more, not aggressive,
present,
but more excitable about being around us, it definitely would have.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been as It wouldn't have been what it is. That's
Right.
for sure.
And again, I want to make this clear. I was doing this as much for me. This wasn't a game. I wasn't like trying to play this game of like, treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't fixatingly like in scarcity. I wanted to. These models are so useful. I was about to say a long thing, and I was like, I can now just say scarcity mode, and everyone listening knows what that is. I wanted to be in abundance mode in regard to these people I've just met, not scarcity mode.
Okay. I think it's interesting though, because it does kind of play into like the leave them wanting more mentality of social interaction.
It does,
like,
but
I know that your focus is
as
internal.
a side benefit, yeah. I just want to make sure that the advice on this podcast isn't, hey guys, here's how you manipulate people.
No, but it's fascinating because I think it makes sense how it all interacts.
Yeah. So do you remember do you remember what happened after the convention? So we hung out a few times. We had dinner. So it's not a test. I'm just. But
I mean, someone's gonna have to explain it anyway, so you might as well exactly. Take me on a journey.
So the next thing that I did was at that convention there were maybe like 8 of us who hung out, like a big group of us. And so I made a group chat. And again, this is a thing that I do. So. Okay, I'm worried this is going to get weird. I recently met someone who I'm like, this person is cool, I want to be friends with them. This doesn't happen very often. I don't like most people in the way that I like you and my other close friends. It's very rare. I met someone I was like, oh, dang, it's another human in the world who I actually want to interact with. That is unusual. And so I have made a group chat. You, me, and this other person have a group chat where we talk about movies and stuff like that.
Literally never met them in my life, and it's great.
Yep. And so... My next move in this cool way of making friends is to make a low-stakes hangout environment. Because had I been like, hi, Nicole, and just messaged you 10 times a day, same thing. It just would have been like... Mm-hmm. Also, there is a gender dynamic. Again, we are so very platonic. But you didn't know that at the time. Like,
right.
At the time, I could have been trying to creep on you. You have no way of knowing. And so I made a group chat, a mix of guys and girls, all the people we've been hanging out with. It had a ridiculous name. I don't know if you remember this. And for the next, like, month or so, I would just drop stuff in there as it occurred to me. So, like, if I had a story about a game that we'd played at the convention, I would mention that game. And then you and our mutual friend all kind of, like, became more interactive. And so we split off into a 3-person group chat. 9 years on, that group chat is still going. We are still in that, not every day in the same way that we used to be, but the thing about making friends is that it's about time spent together. I have a model. I keep going to apologize for explaining a model. I'm like, no, that's the point of the show. It's called Blueprints. That's what we're doing. So I have this, and again, this is not sociologically based. I'm not an anthropologist. I don't think the human brain is very good at differentiating between time spent with something because you want to spend time with it and time spent with something. For example, there are 2 different people who go to every convention that I go to. I work in board games. I go to all the board game conventions. There are 2 people who the first, 5 times I met them, I was like, I cannot stand this person. They drive me up the wall. They're just like I said, I'm very picky about my friends. I don't like most people. Mm-hmm. These 2 were the far opposite end of people I want to spend time with. But we kept going to the same convention again and again and again. And these weren't big conventions. We had to play games together. They're both industry people like you and me. So we had lunches together. 5 years on, I am good friends with both of these people. I don't like them, but just sheer exposure means that when let's call them Samuel, our default name of the podcast. When I see Samuel, I'm like, oh, hey, it's Samuel. Even though I don't particularly like Samuel. And I have all these memories of hanging out with Samuel and having good times because we play games and have dinner. And so I'm like, oh, Samuel. And Peter, your best friend, I don't like Samuel. My brain does. It makes no sense to me. And again, this is not manipulate people into becoming your friends by forcing your time on them all the time. But there is this thing of exposure. They've done studies on this in regards to music, it was images. So they showed a bunch of just random images, just pure nonsense. And then they showed them all, and they said, "Cool. After each one, just tell us how much do you like it out of 10." completely arbitrary. It could have been like white noise. It was like it was very random stuff. So they showed him like 100 images and they said, which ones do you like best? Cool. They got the ratings. They got the same people back like a week later. They showed him 100 random images and like 10 from the original set mixed in. And it might have been more than 100. It was so many that you wouldn't remember any of them. It was just like a bunch of random images. And regardless of how they ranked them the first time, regardless of what metric they used, everyone liked the images that they'd seen before. Familiarity is this weird thing. I mean, there's a phrase, familiarity breeds contempt. This is the opposite of that. There's this weird thing of like, if I'm listening to the radio and a song that comes on that I know, I'm like, oh, it's the song I know, regardless of whether I like it. And so there's this weird thing. And again, I think of it as like the human brain is just bad at differentiating exposure, like voluntary exposure from involuntary exposure. There's this weird thing where we just like stuff that we're around.
Yeah.
So, and again, I'm not trying to say like manipulate people into liking you by just stalking them or whatever. That's not the goal. I'll stop disclaiming. Hopefully you understand the intent here. But you and I were in a group chat hanging out. Then we made a personal group, started hanging out. And now look at us now. We live across the country and we rarely see each other. Amazing.
Yes. Gold.
It's funny, the pamphlet I was talking about earlier of like how to make friends, this is a wildly, wildly different method. That one used to be, I actually saw the movie. What's the Jason Segel and Paul Rudd film?
I Love You, Man?
I Love You, Man. I watched I Love You, Man, and I was like, oh, whoever wrote this has moved cities, because that is how I used to make friends. Like, find an excuse to go out with them, get drunk together. Again, not in a sleazy way, but like there's something about getting drunk that fast forwards friendship. It's about vulnerability, and like, if you're drunk around someone, then it, again, lizard brain can't tell the difference between like vulnerable voluntarily and vulnerable
But you
just
just
because you've
lose
had
the
a drink.
filter.
Right, exactly. And so now alcohol really bonds people. That's not my current method. I don't really drink. But that I used to do that. I used to be like, hey, guy from work, you're cool. Let's go for drinks. This is why going for drinks is a social thing. Because
Right,
it accelerates friendship. It's crazy. That's not my method anymore because I am much more picky about who I want to be friends with. And also I don't drink. So Nicole, what was the next step of our friendship? And this is a big one that I know you know. I just don't know if you know.
When we started working together? Was that what?
Bam! So this is the primary part of how Peter makes friends. What?
I know exactly what you're going to say. You become friends with people you work with, and you work with people you're friends with because they overlap.
Yeah.
Interest in people just overlaps.
Now, you
Sorry,
can't,
did I spoil it?
No, you're good. I just want to be clear. You can't like literally work with everyone. If you work a day job and you meet a cool bartender, you can't offer them a job at your work. Nor should you quit your job and go work at the bar. But the generally applicable version of this is have a reason to spend time with someone. This is the headline of how to make friends. It ties into the lizard brain thing. Have a reason to spend time with them. People, especially like as you get older, they don't have time for friends. No one has time for friends. If I said, hey, random, this person who I met who I think is really cool, if I was like, hey, let's be friends, let's do an hour of friendship a week, they would quite correctly be like, I'm busy. I have an entire life over here. I can't give you, random person, an hour of my time each week. What people do have time for is their projects. Go ahead.
It's interesting because you're saying projects, and I'm thinking kids, right? Like some of the easiest way now. It's impossible to make friends as a mom, but also it's the easiest way because now we have a thing that we are doing. We are watching our children together, and there's a reason for it.
Can I tell you a secret, Nicole?
Yes.
Your kids are projects.
Oh, yeah.
By any definition of a project, each of your kids is a very high intensity, long term, time consuming project.
Unquittable project, yeah.
Unquittable project. Well, accidents happen. No, don't kill your kids. That's the advice of the podcast.
Oh my God. You should probably cut that.
Nah, that's staying in. If you want, we can cut it.
I don't care. You're the.
Okay. Then it shall stay. You don't have to worry about me. I got me.
Okay.
The advice was don't kill your kids. I'm saying not to. That's good advice. You want to cut the advice to not kill your kids? I don't know what's wrong with you.
Your humor.
You love it. Just maybe not on a podcast. So yes, kids are a perfect example of a project that you need to do anyway, that if you can incorporate other people in, it's time. It's time spent together. Now, I gave you a job. That's not the best way to make friends. That's not my recommended way to make friends. That is an expensive way to make friends. But you were looking for a thing to do, and I loved you, like, again, platonically, but like I met you, and we actually came in, I don't remember if I stayed at your house or we just hung out a bunch when I stayed in Florida, but on that trip where I hung out with you a bunch in Florida, you came and picked me up from the airport, we hung out for like a couple of days. That was when I was like, oh, she's ambitious. And I love ambition. Ambition is like if you had to pick one word to describe me, ambition would not be a bad choice. I am a very, very, very ambitious fellow. And so to meet someone who was equally ambitious was really invigorating, really exciting. And I was like, I want to take that ambition and harness. And so that's why I brought you into Jelly Bean Games, my company, which you ended up co-owning for a while. Like you were ambitious. You went from like doing customer service to co-owning in like a period of 6 months.
Yeah.
And
I'm aggressively helpful.
You're aggressively helpful. And so and again, a project doesn't need to mean hiring them. So I am very, very work focused as a human. Again, ambition is the key word. So all of my examples are going to be work based. You've already given the great example of kids. Another one would be hikes. There we go. I'm just trying to find anything in my life that isn't work. I'll go back to some work examples, but I just want to start with something for people who aren't obsessively workaholic like I am. So I love hiking. I love hiking in LA. I love hiking. I love moving up hills. I just really, really enjoy it. And so if you're listening to this and want to be friends with me, I'm full. But if you're listening to this and you want to be friends with someone and you know they like hiking, offer to go on a hike with them. That is such a good one-on-one, nothing else time. And if you're a guy, if you're an older guy and she's a younger girl, like woman, don't open with like, hey, let's go be alone in the woods. But you know, a hike is a good way to spend time with someone where you are doing a thing, and in that case, there's no other distractions. Okay, I'm gonna switch to my work examples, which are much more relatable to me. I go to a monthly playtest here in LA called First Play LA, actually started by your boss, Peter Vaughan, and I have a co-design with your husband, Alex, called Providence. Massive, big, heavy 3-hour Euro, which if you know board games, that'll make sense. And I would bring that every single month and get eyes on it. And one day a guy came in and he sat down who's like, this is my kind of game. I want to play big, heavy Euros. Actually, this happened twice in Providence. The first time, they were like, hey, we have a weekly game night where we just play big, heavy games. Great. I started going. I don't go anymore because my life is too busy, but I now have these 7 friends because 8 is a lot of people for heavy Euros. We generally split into 2 groups. But every week, they congregate, have dinner, play big, heavy Euros. Board games are an amazing way to make friends because it is a thing. It's not just like, hey, do you want to go and spend friendship time together? It's, hey, do you want to play this specific board game or this specific type of board game? Do you want to have a game night where we do a game thing? The second time, the guy was like, hey, I love this. I love big heavy Euros. If you ever want to playtest heavy stuff, let me know. And playtesting heavy stuff is really challenging. So he and I started playtesting once a week for years. He is now one of my close friends. Like, it happens when you spend time with someone. You become friends. We've actually got 2 co-designs. He is my second most prolific co-design after your husband. Most prolific co-designer in that, like, I have multiple signed games with him, which is only true of me and your husband and this guy, because once a week, he makes his own hours too. He runs like a fitness company. So once a week, we would just together and play games. We played together. We play tested for over a year before we started co-designing. But it's just, if you spend time with someone week after week after week after week, it stops being about the thing, and now you just become friends. It's such a reliable formula or model or system. You're a grown-up. It's hard to make friends as a grown-up. Have kids is one way to do it.
Yeah. Well, then you have less time for it. But I think that I see myself doing similar things on a less committed schedule when I was in my 20s. It was always about like, oh, come run this errand with me, or I got to go shop. I got to go to the mall to grab this thing. And it's something about like just having a goal together.
Yeah.
even if it wasn't like a regularly scheduled like weekly commitment, it still was something to do, something to focus on, like other than small talk or finding the next thing to say in the conversation.
100%.
It's kind of like how I use knitting. Like I just need something to do with my fingers while I'm having the conversation. I need something to do.
Perfect. That reminds me of so many non-work related. So I'm very work focused. I do projects with people. If my other podcast is called Fun Problems with my friend AJ.
You're cheating on me? It's our first date.
He and I were not that close when we started that show. We are now very close because we've recorded the show for 5 years. And we have a massive big co-design that requires at the moment like 20 hours a week to work on. Like, I'm spending more time with AJ than any other person in my life. I think he did the math, and if you ignore sleeping time, he spends more time with me than he does with his wife. Like, if you want to be close with someone, like, projects beget projects. So I tend to do it in a professional capacity. But book clubs, comic clubs, whatever. Oh, another weird one, and this again. These are very specific. I'm giving you a lot of options, not saying, like, here's the way to do it. Dating. That sounds weird, I realize, because you're like, Peter, the point of dating isn't to make friends. It can be. I have made multiple friends from dating. One of my close friends is a woman called Artie. She was on Love on the Spectrum. She's Artie Garg, if you've ever seen that show. She's the sister. We met on a first date. We were not right together on any level. I love her, but like we're just not. We wouldn't make sense as a couple for so many reasons.
Not like you and me.
Yeah. But 3.5 years on, 4 years on, we are still friends. I see her all the time. I met her through dating, and then we started doing game nights. Like, meeting people is hard. Becoming friends is hard. Book clubs, all this kind of stuff. Go to these things as like a little shopping expedition, a smorgasbord, and meet all these people. And then when you're like, ooh, this person seems interesting, don't attach to them like a leech. Don't message them 20 times a day, but find a reason to maybe splinter off and do a thing. Hey, do you want to go on a hike? Oh, hey, you mentioned Mage Knight. I actually have a copy. Do you want to come over and I'll teach you how to play? I've done that on multiple occasions. I have taught multiple people this big, heavy game just because I wanted to become closer friends with them.
So it's interesting that it's kind of related, kind of not. Like, it's not so much of like finding a reason to be friends with someone, but when you put yourselves into all these positions specifically to make friends, you taught me one of the most mind-blowing things to my brain, which was be picky about your friends.
Yes.
That, it just never, I did not have a lot of friends growing up. I had like 2 or 3 like best friends. And I say best as like
mode.
It was like a longevity thing. It wasn't like they were good for me. And so I just latched onto anyone who was interested in being my friends, and I didn't pursue finding other friends. And then you were like, once you told, like, I say like a lot. Once you told me that you are very, very picky about who you choose to be friends with, it just broke my brain wide open. Like, there are tons of people who I'm fine being around, but because I've made an effort to like curate my friendship and my circle, if conversation isn't gelling or we're just not connecting, I just don't have time.
I will say I'm very, very picky about my friends, present company excluded. I just want to make that really clear. Okay, the last thing I want to say on this, unless you have anything else, is this is not only a good technique for making... So yeah, meet a group of people, find one, splinter off, play Mage Knight, go on a hike, start a group chat. Group chats I'm in so many group chats. I mean, like... I think everyone is, but like I really aggressively start group chats because sometimes they spark, and sometimes like you and me and one of my other sisters, I should say, have a group chat that we hang out a lot, and it's about fitness and fashion. Like, pick a topic, there's a group chat. I've started group chats about movies, they kind of died away. I've started group chats. I have a group chat about Taskmaster because I just love the show Taskmaster so much. And so it's a reason to talk to the group. Every time a new Taskmaster thing happens, every time a new fashion or fitness thing happens, we go to that chat and we talk about it. It keeps the chat alive. It gives it a reason to exist. It can be totally arbitrary, and over time you will move away from the thing and start just having a more natural friendship. Great. That's the end goal. But if you've got a structure brain like you and I do, then having a reason, like every time a Taskmaster thing happens in my life, I go to my Taskmaster chat and I share that, and it means the conversation is happening. every time I went to this playtest with my local friend, we would sit down and start playtesting and honestly talk very little about our lives. But just by nature of being in the same physical place once a week, you're like, oh, a bruise. How did that happen? Oh, hey, I saw on Facebook you're getting married. Like, you start to become friends, even if it's this mercenary, like, we are using each other for playtesting. We're humans. We have these lizard brains. We can't help it. Use that. Take advantage of your weird lizard brain. Okay, the last thing I want to say is that this is not only a great technique for making friends, it is an amazing, amazing, amazing technique for deepening and rekindling friendships. For example, you and I are best friends. I love you to bits. We talk all day, every day, but we both get busy. I have 17 careers. You have, 8 kids, 9 kids? You have some uncountable number of kids. And a full-time job, and so we just hang out less than we used to because of life. So, Nicole, do you want to be on a podcast with me? Yeah. But this is how, like, AJ and I were friends, and then he was like, I want to be better friends with you. We're doing a podcast, and I will do all the work. I want to do multiple episodes about value, but part of it is like, what value are you adding? If you're like, hi, I want to be friends with you. Can you work out a hike and come pick me up and drive me to the hike? No. You've got to make sure that you're adding value. Again, I don't want to dive into value too much, but like, make sure that you're not making it in position for them. If it's easy for people, they're more likely to say yes. If it's a thing they're excited about, they're more likely to say yes. I have picked up my big heavy copy of Mage Knight, driven to someone's house, set it up, taught them the game, packed it up, driven home again. It's a great way to make friends. I'm doing all the work, but we get those 3 hours of time together. And, 3 hours of board game, you stop in the middle, you have some food, you chat, like it just naturally develops. Okay, that is everything in the world I have to say about friendship. Any other thoughts?
I need to rethink my friends. No other thoughts.
And as Nicole mentioned, be picky about your friends. Just because someone will be your friend doesn't mean that it's a good use of your time. The lizard brain thing works both ways. If you spend a lot of time with someone, then they will become your friend. And is that, the classic thing of you are the average of the 5 people you spend time with. Do people energize you or do they drain you? Like, these are all really useful things.
You should not be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, I feel like you've never had that job.
Thank you. Love you too.
I was going to say, cruelty is our love language. Okay, so we have 2 segments in the show. I want to start with what's on your desk, because I have one prepared. I have this on my desk, and for people who are listening to the podcast, you want to describe what I'm holding up, please?
That is a stream deck. It is a deck of streaming.
So this is it's hard to describe. It's like an LED vertical keyboard. So it's a 5x3 grid of like customizable LED buttons that when you hit them, they program. Nicole, do you know where I got this?
I have no idea. You tell me. Where did you get it?
So Nicole knows my brain, I think, better than literally anyone in the world except for me. Like I think that
this is why I'm scared of you.
Yeah, it's terrifying. This is why we knew that this podcast would be interesting, because we love talking about this kind of stuff and we love exploring our own brains and each other's brains, and just like it's just fascinating to us. And so she knows how I work, she knows how I think. She saw the stream deck, she immediately went online, bought a copy and shipped it to my house. She was like, it's not even your birthday. This is just a thing that I know will make your life better. Oh my goodness, it's made my life so much better. So it is like perhaps the best gift I've ever gotten.
I love those gifts where you're just like, this is made for this person. Yeah. The end.
The closest I've gotten with you is I bought you that amazing book of poems. I don't know if you've even read past the cover. But,
I have. I've read. I don't have a lot of time to read, but that was perfect for my brain.
It's like poetry about being a parent. We'll put a link to both these things in the show notes if you're interested. But yeah, the stream deck, like, this is the thing on my desk that I love it so much that I bought a travel one. So when I'm traveling, I have a second stream deck.
Wow, that's intense. You're all in on the stream deck now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I have, and again, we'll probably go into this later episode. I have all these shortcuts set up, so when I press it, it doesn't just open an app. It like does 7 things on my computer, and it starts a timer, and it opens an app in a certain spot, and it's like, and I have multiple pages. I have one for each of my different careers, like a different page on the app for each of my careers. I love it. I really, really love it. It was an amazing gift, and I wanted to start our What's on My Desk segment with this. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. And if you use a lot of shortcuts, and I mean like Apple shortcuts, or I use Keyboard Maestro and Better Touch Tool, if you use this kind of thing in your life to automate, a Stream Deck will revolutionize. Like, I I don't even have to look at it anymore. I've memorized what all the buttons do, and I use it all the time. And again, later episode, we might even dive into how I use the Stream Deck, because it's so useful. We're going to do a question from the audience. Now, as
you didn't ask what's on my desk.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, I hadn't prepped you for it, so I didn't know if you actually wanted one. What's on your desk, Nicole?
You didn't prep me, so I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say? And I just think it's really funny that now I have to. And I was debating this the whole time you were talking. I wasn't actually listening to you. I usually don't. And I was
you'll be able to listen back to the podcast, Nicole. You'll get even more Peter in your life.
So I have one perfect thing to answer, and I was like, it's actually a gift for you. So part of me is like, oh, I shouldn't really. But then I was like, no, we're talking about perfect gifts. It's actually Peter's birthday. It just happens to be on my desk, just because it arrived like yesterday. It's actually Peter's birthday in 3 days, and the more exciting fact, it's mine tomorrow. And when I was in Essen at a board game convention, of all places, because we've discussed that this is where we go, I saw this on a colleague, and I was like, I need to get that for Peter.
What is it? I'm intrigued.
Hawaiian Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so nice.
One of those gifts
that was genuinely on your desk?
Genuinely on my desk. I didn't get up. Did you see me get up? I just reached forward. It was great. That's why I was like, okay, it's right there. I have to. So congratulations, you ruined your own birthday surprise.
Thank you, Nicole. And now that you know the segment exists, you can put stuff on your desk strategically to sound like a great mum and friend every single episode. You'd be like, "Oh, it's a certificate of how great my kid is. Woo, it just happened to be on my desk.
Happened to be right here."
Okay, we're going to end the episode with a question from the audience. Obviously, this is being our pilot episode. We don't have an audience yet, but I asked listeners of my other podcast for some questions, and
you could have proactively asked Alex, because it still would have counted, because he would have anyway.
He's our audience. He's our future audience. Bumblepie from the Fun Problems Discord asked, how do you decide when something is complete? So
I wanted you specifically to ask yourself this one, because that's part of my struggle with not being a creative. Like either I lose interest 90% to actual completion, or I just cannot stop. Like I don't know when to quit.
So obviously there is no answer to this. I can't just be like, here's the formula, done. But there are a few different approaches that I use towards how is something complete. So as a creative, like, especially as a creative who makes and releases a lot of my own stuff, like, I could keep working on something forever. Right now I'm writing a novel. When will the novel be complete? And the answer is never. I could be 90 and still redrafting this novel. I could be 91 and still redrafting. I could be 91 and a half and still redrafting this novel. There's no end to it. But I've had to, as mentioned, like when I started working from home, I had to come up with systems. And so one of them is simply when I read over it, or when I look over it, or when I, if it's a board game, when I play it, how much do I want to change? Because the answer is almost never nothing. Like it is very rare to play over something and be like, oh, this is done. It's always like, oh, that could have been slightly better worded. And like, this card is good, but could it be great? Or, this core mechanism, whatever. There's always a way to improve everything. But if we're talking like 50% I want to change, that is not done. If we're talking 1% I want to change, and it's going to a publisher who's going to tweak it anyway, that is very done. If we're talking I'm self-releasing it, maybe 1% is too high. But there is this arbitrary limit in my head of like, okay, when I played this, if I'm sending a game to Cardboard Alchemy and they're going to do a whole dev pass, there is no point in getting it 100% complete, because nothing ever survives a dev pass unscathed. Development is the process in which they tweak and change, and often like change literally up to like 60% of a game. That's not unusual for a development. So there's no point in getting to 100% if it's going to a publisher. If I'm publishing it, if it's coming out from Jelly Bean Games, that number has to be much, much higher, but it still can't be 100% because then you will never release it. So that's method one. Just at a certain point, you don't want to change it anymore. Now, if you have low standards, great. You're going to hit that point really fast. And good for you. That is its own kind of blessing. Do you know who Hank Green is?
I feel like you've talked to me about this person a lot.
I knew him as the Vlog Brother. So he was a YouTuber who now also runs like a business doing science content, and he writes novels, and he used to be a songwriter and all this kind of stuff. He says that the trick to his prolificness is that he 80%'s everything. He never gets anything past, I think maybe 90%. He hits that point, is like, look, that's good enough. Let's put it out there because then I can do more. So he would release a song a week and 3 videos and be working on this and at the same time this kind of stuff. And it's
efficient.
Because, yeah, it's efficient. But the moment I heard that, I was like, this is why I don't like his songs. A song is such a pure little conceptual thing that 90% is like, there are so many songs and there's so little to a song, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, that 90% is just nowhere near enough.
Wow. So now you are criticizing Taylor Swift's looks and her craft. It's messed up, Peter.
Taylor Swift is not 90% anything. She
does not.
Yeah.
Whereas, so for context, I'm a major Swiftie. Like,
yes. You've taken my girlfriend to Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah.
Whereas a YouTube video or a vlog, especially, that you can 90%. Absolutely. I was about to say 100%. You can 90% a vlog because it's not like a vlog's in contention to be rewatched 100 times in a way that you can listen to a song thousands and thousands of times. That last 10% matters much less for a vlog than it does for a song.
Right, no one's going to be watching that vlog in 100 years.
Yes, and especially no one's going to like have it on loop for a day in a way that you absolutely can with a
I would
song.
hope not. That's
that's weird. So method one is pick a percentage and look at where it's going and where it's at, and make it hit that percentage of how much you want to change. And then the other one is set a deadline. This is the more common advice you'll hear. It's got to be done by Friday at 8 p.m. Cool. You know how you know it's done? Because it's Friday at 8 p.m. I have to do this with my YouTube videos. Actually, I do both my YouTube videos. With my YouTube videos, I will rewatch the whole thing. And with a YouTube video, mine aren't vlogs. Mine are like little sort of Easter egg. Like they're very high intensity things. So I do want them to be like close to 100%. I will watch a YouTube video until I want to change basically nothing, because it's a simple editing tweak. I don't re-record audio. That's the one thing that I just can't do because of the setup. But with my YouTube videos, I will watch it and watch it and watch it. If it was an hour, I would have a different percentage threshold. But with my little like 5-minute videos, I will watch it and watch and watch it and like hone it. But the other thing I do with YouTube is I'm like, hey, Knives Out 3 is coming out soon. I want to have my Knives Out video done by this point. Got to get done. So this is both an incentive and also
it's not an arbitrary deadline. It's
exactly.
There's a reason for it, and I think that's important to not have an arbitrary deadline, because then you're not really responsible to anything. It's just made up.
Yeah. So give someone else if it's an assignment for your boss, great. It's got to be in by then. Find a good reason for it to be done by then.
Accountability is a very big driving factor for me.
That is how I decide when something is complete. How does it work on the non? I don't want to say non-creative. I don't think of it as a non-creative. I know you do, but I feel weird saying it.
No, I think that brains are either like organized or
chaotic,
creative, and I was gonna say I have neither. I honestly think that I'm running from fire to fire so often that nothing's ever complete. Like nothing ever has to be complete in what I do generally, because I'm not I'm not hitting print on a game and deciding that this game is done and this is the most fun it can possibly be, right? I am making spreadsheets and that field that field can be added and that would make it more useful, or okay, but I can't go back and add all that data historically, but I can use it moving forward, and it's just iterative forever for as long as you need it. So I think it's a very different gauge of like what is done.
What about something like an email? Because I know that you will write these emails and you will spend like decent amount of time making sure that it's a well-crafted email.
It's a good.
At what point or
that's a good-
something like that do you decide it is done, I can send it?
That's rough. That's sometimes like if it's an important email, I'll go back and go through my sent box and reread it from someone else's perspective. Do you ever do that? Is that just me? I think it just depends. I guess like you say when it comes to like games versus vlogs, it depends on like what the intent is and what the importance is. If it's like shooting someone off an email saying, "Hey, I need your help with this thing. Can you give me an answer on this?" That's one thing. But if it's a really like delicate relationship or a big ask, I might reread that 3-4 times just to make sure that I'm coming across exactly how I want to come across. So, and even then, I don't think I'm ever happy with it.
Relatable. Hashtag relatable. I talk about the fact that my everything I make has an 18-month window in which I like it. And after that 18 months, no, can't stand it. I have, as mentioned, 38 published games. I like some of them, for sure. There are some that I like.
So you're saying I shouldn't go back and look at emails that I spent a lot of time of 2 years ago?
No,
probably not.
That is a terrible idea on so many levels. But if you are going to do it, bring a friend and make it a project, and that'll make you have a better relationship.
That's how we've had come full circle.
Thank you all so much for listening to the debut episode of Blueprints for Life. If you have a question for our question from the audience section, send us an email. I will put the email in the show notes because I forgot to make one ahead of time and I don't know what it is. Any final words, Nikki C?
No.
Cool.
That's a word. Nope.
That's it. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Blueprints for Life. If you'd like to support the show and get advanced sneak previews of upcoming episodes, check out the Patreon in the show notes. If you'd like to write us a question from the audience, the email address is life@blueprints.fm. And if you found anything in this episode useful, please tell a friend. Cheers.